Hello, this is cjhoyle. Today is Saturday, September the 24th, 2022. And right now I'm riding my bike southbound on Leslie Street, just approaching the entrance into Tommy Thompson Park. Because in this video I'm going to be riding my bike from here all the way out to the end of the Leslie Street spit here in Tommy Thompson Park. And this is the first time that I've filmed a video riding my bicycle along this route, although I did make a video last winter where I traveled this exact same route, but I did it on my cross-country skis. And as I was making that video, I remember thinking that it would be nice to come back and show the same route when things are a lot less snowy and a lot more green. That's sort of been on my bucket list of things to do in the summer of 2022, and I guess technically we've missed the end of summer as the beginning of fall or autumn came just a few days ago. But things are still looking relatively green here. This vehicle that we're following up ahead is a golf cart, and I believe it's operated by the Yacht or Sailing Club that's located within this park. Can't remember the name of it right now, but I'll put it on the screen. It's a beautiful sunny day for late September. I'm wearing my shorts and t-shirt, although a few days ago when I was riding my bike, I did need to bundle up more than this. So Tommy Thompson Park is a really beautiful place to come and visit throughout the year, but particularly in the summer when it's looking all green like this. Tommy Thompson Park is located on the Leslie Street spit, which is a man-made peninsula that they began constructing way back in the 1950s. And back in those days, the Toronto Harbour was a very industrial place, very busy industrial harbour. And I believe it was pretty close to capacity at that point, or maybe even over capacity. And around that time, they were also building the St. Lawrence Seaway, which would connect the Great Lakes with the oceans. And with that expansion coming, they figured that Toronto would need a bigger harbor. So in addition to the natural harbor that has existed here for centuries, created by the Toronto Island, sheltering the mainland, they decided to build another formation similar to Toronto Island, and that's the Leslie Street Spit. So it's about 5 kilometers long, and it's constructed out of discarded construction materials. For example, old pieces of concrete from old buildings that were demolished, or bricks. Also, you'll see like old concrete planter boxes from the streets, and even pieces of sidewalk left over. And that's what you'll see if you go to the sort of the edge of the land where the water meets it, sort of to simulate rocks along a shoreline to protect from erosion. But I believe a lot of the dirt that's here came from when they were excavating things like building a new building. They would, they had to dig a pretty big hole for that. All that dirt's got to go somewhere. But also a major excavation project where they had a lot of dirt they had to get rid of was the building the Toronto subways. So a lot of that dirt came here as well. And when they built it, it was really for that industrial purpose. They never had any sort of plan for it in terms of it being a nature preserve or anything like that. But that is, in fact, what it has become. It's a conservation area managed by the TRCA, the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority. And so all the trees and things that you see around here, they were originally never planted on purpose. They were just naturally just started to grow here from the, from seeds and things from the surrounding mainland. And because it was an area that people didn't really sort of do anything with, it just sort of thrived and grew. Like I said, now it's a nature preserve where it's home to North America's largest colony of double-crested cormorants, which is a type of bird that at one time was almost extinct in this area. Just saw a tandem bike that rode past there on the left. I was actually riding through here earlier, and I saw probably about 10 tandem bikes. There's a quadricycle that we're just passing on the right. There seems to be some kind of a club here today. You don't normally see the quadricycles, and tandems you see, throughout the city occasionally. But it seems like there might be a tandem club or something, or maybe even it's bike rentals. Maybe the tandems are being rented out. I'm not really sure. So back there was an option for us to turn over to the left, and there's essentially two main roads that'll take you out to the end of the peninsula here. And in between them they branch in two different directions and they come back together again, but in between those two roads there is some marshland, some little pools of water. And in fact, to get across one of those pools of water, up ahead we're going to be riding across a little floating bridge. So I've been considering that maybe I would ride the other way in this video, since I showed this path when I did it with my cross-country skis, but I think it's good to try and show the same route in the two different seasons and make them as similar as possible to show the contrast if you want to go in back and watch that old video. Although technically when I was skiing last time, I think I was not actually right on this road. There's a little walking path that's over to the left of here, inside of all that brush that's over to the left. But for parts of the route I was skiing on the road here. That walking trail is restricted to walking only. You're not allowed to ride a bike on the trail, so I can't show you that now. But it would be very difficult to ride through this time of the year with everything growing right now. So you can see we have a lot of speed bumps to go over here, which seem like a bit of a nuisance. But they are there for safety reasons, because this is a stretch of roadway that's shared by pedestrians and bikes. It stops the bikes from going too fast. Alright, so just gonna head down a little bit of a ramp here, which goes down more towards water level, and then we'll ride across this bridge here. And as I'm passing, I'll just show you a look over to my right with my other camera, so you can see the beautiful skyline view that we have here. It's a really nice day to be out here doing this. I've always said that this is a very windy park. If you come here on a day when there's any wind, you'll certainly feel it. But at the moment, it's a relatively calm day. I mentioned the cormorants earlier. Straight ahead you can see sort of a couple of trees that look kind of dead. Those are a sign of a place where cormorants live, usually. They're a bird species that likes to nest in trees, and they particularly like cottonwood trees. And they'll form their nest there, and within a very short period of time, the tree has been completely killed, and that's because the organic waste that comes out of the cormorants impacts the soil below the tree, and it actually kills the tree. So if you go to an area where there's a lot of cormorants living, you'll see a tree graveyard. Cormorants are a migrational bird, though, and I haven't seen any signs of them having been here right now, so perhaps they have traveled south for the winter. Here's a bunch more of these tandem bikes. A lot of them are wearing matching clothing, which kind of confirms my theory about them being in a club of some sort. Another one. In my previous video where I skied out here, I referenced a documentary that had been created about Tommy Thompson Park by a program called The Nature of Things. And in that video, they went into a fair bit of detail about the cormorants, but they talked about a whole lot of different natural aspects about this park. Really enjoyed it. It's certainly something I would recommend if you haven't already seen it. I'll provide a link in the description below. Back there, right after we saw that tandem, there was a road to our left, and that's that other road that we could have taken. It eventually rejoins this road, and now this is the main road that'll take us the rest of the way out to the end of the peninsula, where there is a small little lighthouse, but also another really nice view of the city. So I'm filming this at around 1:15 in the afternoon on a sunny Saturday. Beautiful time to be out enjoying this weather. The water looked relatively calm when we crossed the bridge, but there definitely is some wind still going. You can see the leaves of the trees blowing. A lot of these trees that are surrounding us are cottonwood trees. And back in June, I did a canoe trip on the Grand River, and as I was canoeing, of course there were lots of cottonwood trees there, although they weren't really the dominant species, but there were certainly some there. And one day when I was paddling, I could see the little fluffy cotton balls that fall from the tree, which carry their seeds, and I decided to collect up a bunch. And from what I understand, at least, the seeds that fall from cottonwood, they start germinating very, very soon after they've fallen. So if you want to grow one, you have to pretty much plant it right away. So using what I had on hand, I used a plastic Tim Hortons cup and I filled it up with soil from the side of the river. And I put all my little seeds that I collected from the air and from floating in the water into there. I watered it a bit and carried the cup with me for the rest of the trip, and within a short period of time I could see some sprouts, and I transplanted them, and at this time I now have 3 little cottonwood trees that survived from that journey, living in pots in my window. So here we're just about at the end of the peninsula now. The little lighthouse is built on top of a mound of dirt that's over there to our right. It's kind of hard to see. It's going to be behind the trees right now, and it's not a historic lighthouse or anything like that. I mean, this land didn't exist here until the 50s and 60s, so it's not particularly old. And over there you can see some of those discarded construction materials that I was describing, old pieces of concrete, including cinder blocks with pieces of rebar sticking out. Here's the place that people like to ride to out at the end. You can see a fair number of sailboats out today enjoying this day. If we just curve around back this way, you can see the city skyline there in the distance. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed joining me on this narrated bike ride here today. If you watched all the way to this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.